Okay, so in this tutorial what we're going to do is I'm just going to show you how to do a Luma correction. First thing you're going to want to do is go up to Window, Workspace, and Color Correction. And that's going to give you 3 different windows. What you do is you put your playhead where you want where you want to color correct, and you'll notice that these 2 windows right here are ganged together, and they're essentially the same thing. So the best thing to do on that is actually you switch it to the YC waveform. What that is allowed you to do is it basically shows you your darkest darks, which are 0, and then the whitest areas or the brightest areas would be up near 100%. And always with this sort of color correction technique or the Luma correction, you want to first bring down your shadows and rest it gently upon 0, and then you're going to fight back with the highlights and that sort of thing, and you want to spread it out. You can see by this clip that you have like lots of mid levels, and there really isn't that much contrast between that, and hopefully we can change that with this. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you go over to your effects area, your effects window, and you type in Luma. You'll have the Luma Corrector and the Luma Curve. For those of you familiar with Photoshop, probably the Curve is a better choice for you. We're going to use the Luma Corrector. Excuse me, there's my main accent coming through. In the past, in Final Cut Pro, you use the 3-way color wheel, and you can bring down your shadows that way with a 3-way color wheel. That's also an option in Premiere Pro, but I just find that it's much easier to teach people to look at the Luma as sort of a separate issue. So the way that you do that is once you have this selected. Now we know that we're going to use the entire timeline here. So I'm going to go ahead and just select everything or hit Command A, and then I'm going to drag that Luma Corrector in. And then you'll notice at the top, once you toggle that on, you're going to have this area which is unrendered. And so that's going to take a little bit of your time. But we're just going to do now one at a time. So I'm bringing my playhead over to the clip that I want to correct. That seems like a pretty good area to me. I'm double clicking on that, and then you'll notice up here I have another view of it. Then I'm going to go up to Effect Controls. I'm going to click on that, and what that does is whatever clip you click on, it's going to show the filters or the effect controls. In Final Cut Pro, it was filters. And hopefully we have that. So we have really 3 different things that we're going to want to mess with here. We have the gain, pedestal, and gamma. In Final Cut Pro, it was called, I believe it was I think it was shadows and mid and high or something, or low, mid, and high. So in this, we have the pedestal, which is your lower, your darker values, your gamma, which is your mid levels, and then lastly your gain, which is your highlights. So always we're going to start with the pedestal. Now you can slide it along right to left by mouse clicking. I always find that it's a bit touchy that way, so I tend to enter in numerical values. And the idea here is that you gently rest the shadows upon 0. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to -0.05 to start out, and that looked pretty good to me. I'm gonna go with that. The problem is of course it's underexposed, so I'm gonna go back to my gain and maybe start out 1.1 and fight back with that. And you can see now I'm up to about 95, and then I'm gonna go 1.2. And maybe 1.25. There we go. I think I am fairly happy with that. And you look at the before and after, it just sort of makes things pop out. And if I wanted to, I could mess with my gain here. I mean my gamma, and that gives me some additional control, especially over my midtones. So we can look at the before and then the after. Let's go through and do one other clip. This is probably a better one to show you. So again, we're gonna bring down the pedestal. I'm gonna start negative 0.05. Maybe negative 0.1. Let's see what that does. That's super dark. And then I'm gonna bring the gain up 1.2. That's a little too much. I'm going to do 1.15. So you can see that there are parameters or guidelines, but it's, you know, there's a slight art to this. And you look at the before and after, and you'll notice that it gives it a lot more depth, just this simple Luma correction. And that's it for Luma correction. Now we'll do some color correction and grading.